So we're back with the second volume of John Harris. Continuing the sort of theme from the first one. It's got interesting textured inner cover, and it looks like some studies on the interior covers. I don't remember if the first one had an interior one like that, or if it was just blank. So we'll read this. Looks like a poem by the artist. Into the blue. Between the towering clouds, I see infinite blue, reflected here in the heart, endlessly pulling me through. As if, all along, I knew it to be not other than myself. So those two on the previous page looks like a sketch in preparation for painting this. Which again, it's not something that I think particularly stood out to me when I'd looked at this by myself previously, but I just love his star fields. Kind of interesting here that gave much more space to the sketch than the finished work there. It's interesting that the introduction is actually a bit buried here. Just gonna linger on this one a bit. Like, it's a lot more subdued than a lot of his work, but I'm just really drawn to it. So it looks like we've got a photograph of the artist alongside some of his work there. So I wonder if these are very similar. Actually, yeah, that's a detail of a painting that we saw in the last book, I believe. And that, there, if you remember, there was a section that was this sort of paintings of a world that all led to each other. And I wonder if these are set in that world. It's a very similar style that I could imagine it being that same city. Now this, I well, there were a couple similar. Some it might be just a similar one, but I thought there was a very similar painting we saw in the last book of a pyramid below an alien star field like that. So it looks like this first section is about I could have sworn we saw this one in the last book. I had wondered about this in the last book. It looks like he has done the same painting in multiple mediums because in the last book I distinctly remembered that we had felt like we had seen the same painting, but you could tell the medium he used was different. There's a lot of, I think maybe that's why I didn't like this one as much, is just so many sketches, much more so than the first one. So it looks like we have the full version of the cover art here. Oh, I guess it does show it. I guess we didn't look at the back cover earlier. So I guess it does show that on the cover too. I do actually like this just as by itself. You've got that S-curve there leading your eye deeper in. So we've got a preparatory sketch of that painting. So again, we've got just this. No, I don't think I've ever encountered an artist doing that before, where so the same painting, but it's just different mediums. Though I don't like most of these as much as his typical work, I am appreciating just, they're very atmospheric. maybe it's just a similar design, but I feel like, well, I wonder if it's from a particular series because I feel like we've seen that exact same ship in a different painting in the last volume. So I think we're back to sort of rough versions of those earlier paintings. Yeah. Then it looks like the final result of that painting in the being used as a cover there. So in this section, it's a little bit less industrial, it looks like, and where looks like we're going to be seeing a lot of floating rocks. This is just really making me appreciate that first volume more. I feel like which I'm surprised by, I feel like the layout in that first volume is, I mean, maybe it's just a difference in the type of paintings we're looking at, but I just felt like that layout in the first volume was really spectacular. And giving you stuff to appreciate, but here we've got a much more typical run-of-the-mill layout on a lot of these pages in this one. Well, that was actually quite a short section. Again, I feel like we saw this in the first volume. Another just very much subtler atmospheric piece that we seem to be getting a lot more of in this section. Back to these towers that we're quite familiar with at this point. Some sketches. And I guess maybe I'm just the wrong audience for this one because I can, and this volume is much more, it seems, about the creative process, but as far as there's just much, it's just bizarre seeing the full page emphasis being on unfinished works and having the finished projects being just relegated to a fraction in a lot of these cases. So we're back again to where that is a painting we definitely saw last book, and just a couple sketches for it. It is a very interesting effect. Have the trees beyond the glass. Is one thing I've come to appreciate more than I think I did, but just the textures, these rough textures. Well, I'm not sure if I've seen the finished version of this, because I did not realize he ever did a sort of Dune-ish painting. It says this is the final study, but as far as a finished work, I don't know. So it looks like this section is a sort of sequel to the sort of bit where we were traveling through the world. Although I don't really get the same feeling from this. So if that was his intention, I have to say I feel he failed a bit. Looks like this is a study for one of the paintings of that city. We'll go ahead. What? Yeah. I plan on kind of trying to get through this in one session. I'm not sure. At a sort of weird point where if I leave it, I feel like that would be unsatisfying, but it's a bit much to get through today, I think. But I think we'll go ahead and try. We definitely saw this in the. Oh no. I didn't quite realize how much reused material was in this book. This was a rather interesting one. lot of these. I'm sure if these are supposed to be eclipses or just something going on very wrong with those suns. Either way, very dark and interesting. Another one of these haunting, hazy pieces. So very fascinating feeling those cloud banks give. Again, completely reused from the first book. Very interesting texture there. Almost looks like you could be looking up onto the opposite side of a ring world. It's again a bizarre, to me feeling at least, a bizarre choice to put that oh, never mind. Okay, no, that's just a detail. Yeah, the introduction for this section, though, was completely copy and pasted from the exact same corresponding section in the first book about, being invited to a shuttle launch and it transforming his view of things.
Here's a pipe for you.
I feel like we've seen this one as well. So again, we're getting into what to me I think was the very most anticlimactic part, just going over various book covers. Really kind of, again, we saw that in the first volume. I'm really regretting my decision to revisit this. I'd remembered being vaguely disappointed by this ending, but going back through it, it's really erased a lot of my positive feelings for it. Although I still think that first volume is excellent, it just really feels to me where they felt like they didn't have enough material for a second volume, and so they started just really digging through. Although I don't think that's the case. If you'd given proper treatment, because I don't think we've ever seen like a full-sized version of those. You could have made a really great follow-up. But I guess if, for those more interested in the process rather than just viewing the final results, I could still see an appeal here. But no, if he had told me that was his work, I would have never have realized it. So I think I've actually read that one, and it just looked like a run-of-the-mill thing. I suppose when working with them, you're probably under a lot more restrictions than you're used to. I do really love the coloration there. Well, this section actually kind of redeemed things a little bit. Again, this is just one we saw in the first volume. Wasn't nearly as bad as I had thought I did. I just remembered all those just book covers. So yeah, I guess my problem with this book wasn't just that final section, but rather just the kind of pointless feeling to this one. Although there are definitely a few inclusions that I felt, really great. Really few and far between for me in this, and just the being bogged down in the studies which comprise the vast majority of this work. Just to me really put this down a lot more. Also, just the change to a worse, in my opinion, layout. I think it's like they wanted to use them, but they felt a volume of just studies wouldn't sell. Because, I feel like you probably had enough material that you could have used for this volume and then maybe done a volume 3 of the studies. But yeah, also just the amount of actually just recycled material that they put in the first volume that was bizarrely reused here. This is a lot more disappointing than I thought it would be because I did still have, I thought, fond memories of this one as well as the first. But to me, it's a lot worse than I remembered. We'll probably be back tomorrow with the next Morkborg book that I want to look at. But that is it for today.